this is going to be a short agenda item. He's like,
I'm like, oh shoot, I don't think the heart hits us.
Call the council meeting to order, please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please. Toma? Here. Marner? Here. Hewitt?
Here.
Winslow?
here.
Hoover? Here. Goodell?
Here.
Beaky? Here. There's one minor addendum to the agenda. We'll be adding Mr. Dale Tila under new business, so it'll be 10A, and the new point will be C. With that said, we need a motion to approve the agenda.
Someone,
Support.
Motion's been made and supported. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved. Anybody with a statement regarding current agenda items only?
I want to thank you for putting it back on.
You're welcome. Moving on into consent agenda.
someone.
Support. Motion's been made and supported to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. At this time, we need a motion to approve accounts payable in the amount of $201,240.11.
So moved.
Support.
Motion's been made and supported. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This time we'll need a motion to approve $40 mileage reimbursement for Rob Soma.
So moved.
Support.
Motion's been made and supported. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Stephen thought.
All right, moving on into unfinished business, we have none. Into new business, fencing upgrades for 116 Broad Street property. We've been dealing with these fences for a while. It's obvious that it's not really, not doing what it's not meant to do what we're trying to do with it.
Yes, I was just inquired about that this evening. Is that correct?
We may need a more permanent solution. The price on it is $14,500. Right. This is expensive. I think the original one we had there was roughly $5, but this one will be put in the ground, be a permanent fence with a gate until they remove this stuff, and then we'll reclaim it, probably use it somewhere else.
Do you own the fence then?
Yes, we own the fence. The fence is on our property, and we pay for it. We don't have to do this, but it's gonna be a while.
One has inquired about it again tonight, because if you know that they have banners that they're planning on putting up, and they requested again that we get it cleaned up before they put the banners up, that had not came in yet, by the way.
Okay.
And I did mention it again tonight. So questions about the fencing though are, how are we going to be able to install that permanently on the property that we do not own?
It won't go on his property, it'll be just on ours. So even if we have to drill a hole in the sidewalk or whatever, to make it
Sure.
legal, that's what.
Okay, so we'll move it outside of his footprint onto the sidewalk?
Correct.
Sure, okay.
And then it can be used again?
I mean, yeah, we could take it apart. We may have to buy new poles, you know, that vertical poles.
Post, yeah,
but,
defense posts.
And then sidewalk repairs?
yeah, we can, that'd just be concrete repair.
Hold it?
If they even have to, they may not have to. We may be able to
Sure.
sneak it just off the edge and still be compliant.
Mhm.
Is this money we might be able to get reimbursed for?
Well, I wouldn't hold your breath on it.
Quanah, we own the property where the Quanah Park was, wasn't it?
Right,
Yes.
it'd just be that front part.
It would be the front
on our
part.
side.
That you would have to put in this.
And then about the alleyway in the back,
We may not be able to do that part.
because that's privately owned, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Would we be able, it is privately owned, we'd only be able to go the distance of what we own publicly on the back side. Gosh, I wish we could close that off. I was asked tonight if I've noticed whether it looks lighter and lighter in there by the beach. And I said, well, I know that there's things missing, you can tell that somebody's been digging through there, but, people definitely think that somebody's going in there and cleaning it out.
I don't know that a fence that they can still access around the back is gonna do much good.
I know, that's what I'm saying, I wish that we could close off the back completely to try to keep the access out. It's a liability waiting to happen.
Well, if somebody falls and hurts themselves, it'll be on him, and he has no insurance, so. That's a whole suit waiting to happen.
Yeah, I know, it's just wanting to keep the public safe.
Right.
I mean, I know that it's the person's choice that goes in there, and just really struggle with the idea that it's open and that we have to just chalk it up to, well, it's on him. I don't like that idea. But I also don't like the idea of spending $14,000 on a fence.
Right.
Especially if it's still accessible anyhow.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't have to make a decision tonight, so if nobody wants to make the motion, we can.
Why won't the property owner give us permission to put it up on the backside?
We're evil.
He
blamed this whole thing
Because
on us.
the village of Chesaning and Saginaw County are evil entities
fair enough.
that
He's
tricked
not-
him
Yeah.
into buying that building. Sight
He's
unseen.
going through his due process that he's entitled
Yeah,
to
well,
have.
Sure.
fair enough.
He's been unwilling this far to assist any of the,
So yes,
process,
if we
so I
try
don't
to ask,
expect
hey,
him.
we wanna put a fence to keep people out, we could even say, to help you, he would more than likely say no.
What if we approach the owner of that land, that adjacent to that, see if we can put a fence up down through there? See if he gives us permission
Oh, on the backside?
on the backside.
That we might be able to.
yeah, because
Oh,
it's for given
extend it.
permission.
Go further so we can go back and around.
I mean, we could at least,
That might not be a bad idea.
use the alleyway property and then, well, does he own part of that
Is
alleyway?
that asking
Each
another
store owns
person
that.
to violate them? If the fence goes further back and around, is that then asking that person to take, because then the other guy's property is still blocked by someone else.
Well, Bobby owns the end of it,
Sure.
and ask Bobby to lock out that end.
Well, then we're adding more fence.
I know.
Does each individual building owner own a portion of that, or is it singly owned by,
That's just
One
like,
person.
just like that alley behind the fire line.
so everybody community, they all own it? So he would technically own part of that on the alleyway, so it would still be.
That's where we put the gate in and out. It's not denying it's the search property.
What would $14,500, if we, I mean, I would rather see it go towards cleanup. So we may get reimbursed for it. I mean, what would $14,500 do towards cleanup? Would
We
it?
can't touch it. Can't touch that.
Can't.
No.
Not once we're in litigation.
If we could, but we can't.
And it wouldn't put it down in it. I think, what was 60,000 or something like that, I think.
Yeah, it was,
The price goes up each day.
high price tag.
Nobody wants to touch it because of the possibility of asbestos being in there.
Yeah, Make the cost goes up.
It'd be awesome if 14,000 cleaned it up.
That would be awesome.
The second you put 1 foot in here, he's already accused us of trespassing before because of the fence. Cleaning what fell to make sure it wasn't such a mess, so. He just would rather make it worse than better, is my honest opinion, so.
Did we run this through the lawyers to make sure legally we can do it and not have any type of repercussions?
We have not.
Okay, we should do that before we start it.
Table it for now.
Yeah, table it, get some feedback from the lawyers, find out what we're allowed and not allowed to do, and if they even recommend doing it.
There may be something else we could do to the temporary fence too. I mean, possibly sink a pole. I mean, it wouldn't be fast, but
No, but it would appear nicer than what it is now.
just to keep the wind and stuff from pushing that
Sure.
fence around.
Did DPW clean up the one corner that you had mentioned previously?
Not the last time I looked, no, it was still kind of a mess. It was on the Front Street side of it
The
too.
north,
Yeah, just the corner and the Front Street side of it had all that debris.
I know it's small compared to the fence, but it is
Sure.
something we said needed to get done.
Yeah, just, because once they put those banners up there, I don't know the exact specifications for the banners, so I'm not sure if they plan on covering the entire green fence surface, or if they're just gonna be, 2 foot wide, 3 foot wide. I probably should have asked how big they are and how much they plan to cover. But, I mean, once we put those up, those are gonna be essentially art to look at, we don't wanna see the weeds and stuff
Don't look
next to
bad
it there.
on a hole in the ground.
But we should get some advice on whether or not that fencing that we currently have, that if we could even drive larger or longer poles into the ground and just attach to the poles that are attached to that fencing, if it would resolve anything. I mean, that would be a cheaper, it'd still be permanent, we would be utilizing what we already have.
The wind would be blowing it around.
Yeah, I mean, there's a way to secure those. They have those brackets, those like figure 8 brackets that you can hook them together, like when you put a gate on. So, yeah, I don't see why we couldn't just utilize what we have. I mean, I'm sure it would be significantly cheaper.
Well, yeah, cause you can buy a couple fence posts, sink them in the ground with a sledgehammer and bolt them together, maybe $50.
Yeah.
$100.
Unless aesthetically, I mean, I don't necessarily think anybody's looking for anything that looks like someone's yard to go up there. What kind of fence was the
I think
idea?
it's basically the same as what we have now, just
Okay.
permanent,
Sure.
so.
I would say we try to first find out from the lawyer and then maybe try to navigate converting this one into a permanent fencing.
All right, everybody else good with that?
Yep.
Next up, we have setting up a date to present plaque honoring Tina. Is everybody good with next meeting?
Sure.
Okay. If we can get it, if not, I'll find out when we can get it is. Or you'll forget it. You don't forget it. If I don't forget it, yeah, that's also a good point. Next up, we have Dale Titoff. Dale, you have the floor.
Thank you. Looking around the table, I know all except Samuel. And so I just want to compliment you people for serving the community. When I read the minutes, I notice there are very few absentees in the group, so kudos to you folks. What I'm about to approach is permission from you folks to allow something to happen down at Showboat Park. A few of us got to visiting one day and decided that maybe people that go down to Showboat Park wonder why it's called that. They have no history of Showboat. I mean, it's people new to the park or just a younger generation. So we thought it would be a good idea if we could get the backing of the council to proceed in producing a plaque with the verbiage on explaining the history of Chastain Showboat. And then it would be placed down there. The group really hasn't totally met. There's about 8 people on this group that think it's a good idea to do what I'm suggesting. And we really haven't decided the size of the plaque, the words on the plaque, or the location of the plaque. But that's sort of the task that we see this group tackling. And we would keep you people clued in on what the verbiage was, placement, size, to get your approval of it before we would proceed to order and that whole situation. So, I'm seeking permission from the council for us to proceed with the project.
Are you guys gonna be doing the fundraising for it?
Well, that will be something that's gonna come before this group. That's one of the things that we decided. And whatever will happen, I mean, we might get some encouragement from people to say, look, I'll underwrite it, or maybe there's some grants out there, state of Michigan, we really haven't, designated, people on this committee to, tackle different things, like how much is a plaque? I don't know if you're familiar with the one over at, Kerwood Castle, but that's about 5 feet by 2.5. It's got 110 words on it, with print about that size, and you can read it, if you're an average reader, in less than a minute, and get the picture. And we're thinking, at least a couple of us are, but it's gotta come before these other people, and they might have some other ideas. So, that's the situation.
8 foot by 10 foot.
Anybody have questions for Jim?
It's a wonderful.
I think it would be great if there was like, I don't wanna call it a memorial, but maybe like a small area that along with the plaque, there could be some photos for memorabilia
Well,
from past, maybe?
one of the people
Or
on
do
the
we keep all
group
that out
says,
of the,
it's gotta be I was sort of thinking, like the one over at Kerwood, there's no pictures on it, and generally there aren't any pictures on those state.
right, there's not,
But if you are aware of the plaques down on the the catch basins down by the library, those look like they're pretty, sturdy plaques and take the sun. I don't know, that'd be something we'd have to check out. But one person on the committee, Danielle, said, you gotta have a picture on it.
I would think so, just a few like really moments that members of the community remember as like a shining moment when somebody was here, or, you know, a picture of the showboat itself.
Well, that all has to come before this group, and I hope this group, we'll get consensus on whatever we do.
Sure, I like the idea, I think it's valuable.
Okay.
Would you like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to allow Dale Tiedoff and his group, to put a plaque up in Showboat Park in honor of the showboat and its history.
Absolutely support.
Motion's been made and supported. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
If this is going to print, Jeannie, I would prefer you keep Dale Tiedoff's group, say a group, because I was very inactive in Showboat. I'll confess to that, but historically is where I got involved in it. I would go down there and I'd see the sign Showboat Park, and like, this ought to be, you ought to see it justified, the name
Sure.
justified. So maybe a
Yeah.
concerned group, and if you can't do that, be my guest.
Hey Dale, you know, sometimes I consider my past and where I was not effective in my past, but what's important is what you do going forward. So it's okay that you weren't there.
And we'll keep you clued in as to what we see it to be.
Sure.
And then of course, I suspect you need to approve what the verbiage is. So
Yep.
it's, one thing we did come up with, and it's interesting, we decided that I'm only talking to 2 or 3, there will be no names on it.
Sure.
No names. We thought that would be good. Okay.
We also have somewhere a whole bunch of the cement blocks.
Right.
I don't know where they're at exactly.
At the bottom.
So,
And that'd be a good place to put those around
Around
there.
the bottom of it,
Yeah,
yeah.
those are pretty ugly. The signage on them is really gotten worn, but I mean, I think you could put them down there. What it's worth,
Sure. Where there's a will, there's a way.
right?
if you guys wanna go through the barn, just contact the office
Yeah.
and chase all the mice out of there.
Okay. Good.
You are surrounded with seat cushions, American Legion's got about 10,000.
I know. Well, it'll be interesting what we come up with. There's already, of course, descriptions of Showboat history in some of the past programs
Sure.
that you purchased. So that's sort of a jump off point, but then we wanna, add to it, so.
With as used as the park is and the more and more usage every year, I think it's definitely a great idea to have something down there.
And if you people have ideas, like if you think, boy, this is the place the plaque should be, I mean, we're open for suggestions too.
Higher up away from the flood.
Yeah, that's probably good.
Okay, thanks,
Thanks, Dale.
Thanks, Dale.
Brett. Appreciate it.
Moving on into items for action, resolution 2023-04, 23-01, limited tax general obligation bonds. This is authorizing, well, that's 10B, authorizing, the sale of bonds to fund our street repairs. Which were voted on and approved by the public.
And approved and everything else would be going on sale May, what is it, 17th, Sean, they say,
I
something
think
around
so.
there?
Yeah,
And that money could be, we can use part of that money on the Front Street project to make up the difference too. I'll bring that up when we have the infrastructure. I'll make a motion that resolution 2023-1, 2023 unlimited tax general obligation bonds for the street approval.
Motion been made, supported, let's do a roll call for the state, please. Get nice and tight.
Toma,
Yes.
Lerner,
Yes.
Hewitt,
Yes.
Enzo,
Yes.
Yes.
Chanel,
Yes.
Peavy. Yes.
Alright, next up, we have 2023-2, MDOT cost sharing agreement for South Front Street project. Phil, do you have any additional information you'd like to throw in on this one?
Projects are gonna be starting in May
Weather
with the
permitting.
moving, well, that's moving of the poles and any trees that you gotta get cut down, so.
Did I hear that they extended the length of the project past Mason?
They're talking about that up to Liberty because of the, storm sewer problem down in the park. They're wanting to run up to Liberty Street and out that, backs up there, so.
Sure.
And then, if everything goes right, it would be all the way up to the stoplight. And alley behind from Raymond's to Laura's new place there too.
The alley and the parking lot?
I was gonna
Not
say,
the parking lot, just the
darn
alley.
it, we're not gonna get that fixed. I would love to see something
The
like that.
alleyway was done, like, I thought that was a part of the project.
Yeah, from Mason, from Liberty up to the stoplights, the other part.
Cause that's gonna be more mill and fill and shit.
Yeah.
But I thought the alleyway was already in that project.
On the front part of the front street, from Liberty onto the stoplight, that's another project. But there's there's some things that we talked about is, there is a water line in that alleyway. And also the sewer,
Mhm.
everybody thinks the sewer runs up to M57, Front Street. Like what happened to Country Cafe. So, they know, MDOT knows all this stuff, and we're trying to figure out, we're gonna have a meeting with MDOT and all that too, so. Trying to figure out where all the problems are. Good old town, huh?
We're gonna get messy back there.
Okay, slowly but surely it's getting better.
Yeah, cause Laura's place is the only one that has sewer or sanitary on the back side.
Side.
Everybody else is
It's
up
on the
front.
front side. So,
Interesting.
Well, so we need a motion to approve so I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2023-2, the MDOT cost sharing agreement for South Front Street.
Motion's been made and supported, we'll do a roll call on this one, please.
Toma?
Yes.
Marner?
yes,
Hewitt?
Yes.
Enzo?
Yes.
Hoover?
Yes.
Chanel?
Yes.
Yes.
Stretch that $1 million out as far as you can get.
we're trying.
Try to bring it back later.
Doesn't go very far anymore.
That's what the whole meeting was wrapped around, stretching it out.
And they got a new type of material.
Oh yeah, no, that's where the bonds came in, was instead of going cheap and diversifying or changing the plan previous, staying with what we're doing and keep making the improvements and spending.
And they also said that, OHM told us that they got a new, blacktop formula they use, and it's just a little bit better than what they use on the other streets. It's supposed to last longer, so,
And it's cheaper.
and cheaper.
That made out of recycled plastic.
I think so.
Tires?
I think that's what Josh was saying.
Yeah,
It's a new formula, lasts a little longer. In his opinion, it's a little bit better than the previous, but you have to get your orders in.
Get it.
That way for batch purposes, you can actually have it.
Yep.
So he was gonna do some more research and figure that out too, so.
Alright, next up we have item C, Village Hall parking lot and skating rink lighting estimate, that's for out here. Meyer thinks one will do for now, most likely we'll end up needing two to.
on the parking lot,
Yes, it'll be for the parking lot, and so it'll be it's a solar pole with a light that'll extend onto our parking lot, and one that will, broadcast out in the front there and light that up. He said one will do, the two we'll probably end up needing two by the time it's all done. Just,
These are permanent?
yes, they are permanent. We don't have any lighting out there, and we need something.
I was hoping maybe it would be removable, so you could work with something.
Yeah, he was talking about making another one. This for the same project, but he's looking at maybe building them one that is movable, but it's not for our parking lot.
I
It's
know.
more of an event lighting.
Conversations you had when we had with the candle walk, we
Yeah.
had some issues with some lighting back here, and I
Lighting
just
was
wish
on.
that maybe if you'd stick money into this, it could be removable and maybe, move them back.
I think that's what his temporary one is gonna be.
So one of them will be, we definitely need a permanent
Yeah.
structure in the parking lot, but one that could be moved would be nice, because it could be utilized, for almost any event that we eventually decide to jump on board with.
But are we looking to use the skating rink 3 months a year?
Well, we still need it for our parking lot.
Oh, no, agreed, because the skating rink is going out front.
Right.
Yeah.
So keeping a permanent pole, because hopefully, minus the spring weather, autumn weather we're having now, but. The goal would be to be using that skating rink this time of year. So
Ideally, yes.
So we would want that out there. The candle walk, you can always work on an additional pole, which would be the removable.
Yeah, the temporary one.
So if we put up the permanent pole, that'll get us our skating rink and the parking lot, and then we can work on additional lighting this fall.
You can always put up one, see how it looks. and
Yeah.
go from there. And he was working on maybe a temporary one, just playing with it on the side, so we'll see how
is
that
there any way you can hook one up from the garage out there to hit those paths, like
on the back.
on the backside?
Oh, we could add a floodlight as a separate one, we wouldn't need to, if the power is in the barn, if there's enough amperage out there.
Right.
And I don't see why there wouldn't be. You're talking for like the candle walk?
Yeah.
Right up this back? Yeah, we could probably do that. If we do it well in advance, cause I know he's busy like any other skilled trade, so. If we get a good game plan and do a few at a time, it would probably be better than, piecemealing it in.
Sure.
Because it would be nice to add this whole back corner.
I'd like to see, lighting the whole path would be nice all year round. People use it all year round, and it goes from the park all the way up around the bridge.
Same for the one in Showboat Park,
Sure.
would be nice too at some point.
Yeah,
Big
that one's a
part
little
of it.
harder, because the fact that it's a little more desolate
Yeah.
to get power to. all
Well,
the
you
way
could
around
use
the
solar
river.
panel or power.
Sure,
If we look for quantity, there's always across from the parking lot across from Paramount too.
Mhm.
So if quantity, we've got places that quantity gets,
A discount. Well, if the solar one works too, then we don't have to worry about running power underground,
True.
which cuts the cost significantly.
We haven't got no sunlight.
We get enough.
January in Michigan, it's so depressing. So we need a motion?
Yes.
Alright, I make a motion, to accept the estimate for the Village Hall parking lot and skating rink estimate from Meyer Electrics for $4,500.
Support. Motion's been made and supported. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we need to set a budget hearing for fiscal year 2023-24, February 7th, 2023. That'll be when we present the budget and vote on it. And then it'll have to be published in the paper. That's why we're setting the date now.
Is what, so
3 weeks.
3 weeks, okay. I make a motion to set the budget hearing for, fiscal year 2023-24 budget for February 7th, 2023.
Support.
Motion's been made and supported. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on into committee reports, infrastructure.
Last Wednesday, we had our meeting with OHM, and some good stuff came up. The street project for 2021 is completed. Front Street is being planned out with the bond issue being in May. And like I said, after that, we find out when that goes on sale and when they're gonna get the money, project for the utilities and trees removal. And then they'll do the scope of the project, like I said about from, Liberty to north to the stoplight, when they get more prices in and that. The 5-year park plan has been accepted by the village, school, and townships, and the kayak contract has been approved. They are trying to see if we're gonna get the DNR grant because of the money we got from ARPA funds exceeds what the grant is, so they're trying, they want to use ARPA funds. The Water Eagles program, WAM, there was 222 service lines investigation underway. 81's been complete. 107 interiors have been complete. Exteriors gotta be done yet. And then there's 17 exteriors that's done, but the interiors gotta be done. There's 7 to 9 meters that's gonna be replaced in these, some of these that's gotta be done on the interior. The OHM is where we talked about the engineering of the street projects, and we kind of know where we're at on it, so we're not going to try to use them as much, so we keep the cost down. Mark Bluff excavation, isn't it? Is going to be doing the sewer lines. Which one is that? Is going to do the filming again?
Oh, Mark Love.
They do.
So they're coming in to do the remainder of the DWAM grants.
Yeah.
So they wanted to bring them back to town. They wanted to get multiple homes lined up, so, because they're doing our hydro excavation outside.
Mm-hmm.
So this spring, they're gonna come in and they're gonna finish up the DWAM grant. And, well, I'll let you finish and then I'm adding to them if I can, so far.
Well, Sean and I talked about the problems we have on Main Street, even though they fixed Center Street supposedly for the water up there. But we know that MDOT is the biggest problem up there, so we're trying to get MDOT meetings set up with OHM and us. And we're trying to get Mogloff to film all that for us so we can show MDOT what the problem is up there.
On the storm sewers?
Yes.
Yes, so they're also, MDOT's also committed to restructuring a couple of the roadways that have
On the
had
curbs?
accidents, the curbs.
Oh.
So they finally committed, they've got some new leadership, so they've committed now resources
Wonderful.
to restructuring some curbs. Because apparently we had a windmill fin take out some things the other day.
That was enjoyable. My God.
That was
That was
MDOT's fault.
such a wreck.
So, as everybody who kind of knows, there's that flooding all around that Main Street and Center Road area, as well
By
as.
the dance studio.
Yep, and there's a sinkhole just down by Liberty.
If you guys see it, I have complained about it, and all they did is dump blacktop in it. It keeps on sinking down. So we want them to check that out and see why.
Yeah, where's it going?
So, back when we originally talked the sidewalks, that whole project to do drainage, sidewalk, and kind of attempt to get it tidied up is in the ballpark of $60,000. at street removals, so hopefully the whole project. So we took a step back. We're gonna get permission hopefully from MDOT or ask for forgiveness, whichever comes first.
The latter.
Yep. And that's what we were told. Send an email so that way when they show up and say, what are you doing? I tried.
Right.
Map it all out because with Makalov being in town, they'll provide us a good rate. We'll get it mapped out, and then hopefully when they come in to do the curves or when they start that planning, we can prove to MDOT that there's a problem in that area that's on their side or on our connection somehow to work together and get them to foot some of this bill and shrink our cost to either nothing or minimal. So that's what that whole purpose of that area is. But yeah, Makalov will be back this spring to finish up the Dwayne Grammars. So Phil had to go play fireman and he left early from the infrastructure meeting. So after he left, there's two things that we sat down and talked about. So the sidewalk ordinance that the council has approved needs to be kicked over to finance and admin to get finalized and looked at, because right now the upcoming budget has money set aside for it, but there can be no money spent until the ordinance is updated. And updating the ordinance wants to be guided more towards a motorless pathway idea. So it'll be revamping and trying to get non-motorized pathways around the village, and the sidewalks fall underneath. So, because it's going through a bid process, or at least intending to go through a bidding process, I don't know if I need to make a motion or just ask how this works, but I need to move the sidewalk ordinance to get on the agenda for admin and finance.
You don't need a motion for that, they can address it at their next meeting.
Okay.
Just needs to be on the agenda.
And then, after that, I got one more request from the administrative side. DPW is still getting overrun with sewer cleanout calls that are enormously egregious on the homeowner's part.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to get the sewer ordinance over to finance and admin to look at updating it and getting some sort of
Like we did with the fire department.
yeah, some sort of plan together to minimize the people that are just abusing the system. So,
Give them one shot, second shot, some warning, third shot to get fined, and they pay for the bill.
because we've got a couple of homeowners that are really just, and even admitting to abusing the system, so.
They're shoving rags and everything else down their toilets and flushing them and all that.
And they tell you that.
Well, then they should pay for it.
We even had to, we had to dig up the road one time.
You know where that is, right out here.
That's a big bill.
So, yeah, so that's why there's the request to move it over to get that settled up and try to get some traction on saying what we needed to do.
Okay, finance and admin's getting busy for the next month or two.
Sounds like the infrastructure is passing the law.
That's about it, isn't it, John?
Yeah.
Did I say that out loud?
Oh,
Oh,
the
no.
riverbank, is completed. They're gonna keep with, Zach on if any live plants that's gotta be replanted in that area where they had the live stakes at. They said that, they would contact Zach and check with him off and on to see if they need to replace any of that stuff. So.
And we're not passing the buck, we're staying with rule of order and tradition.
So, as in OHM has signed off that project now? Is that, like they've approved it?
Yeah,
to
it's
be
completed,
finished?
it says it's completed,
Oh,
so.
that's great.
Does that mean we can fish there now?
Yeah,
Yep.
Good.
sweet.
That's gonna be awesome.
Bring on the sucker tournament.
Yeah.
When is that?
That means we can take the stakes out, right? I think.
When's the sucker
Yeah,
tournament?
well,
I have to find out if those dates are open yet. I do have a tentative date.
Good, Bill?
Yep.
All right, finance and admin?
When's the sucker tournament?
I'll tell you after the meeting. I don't have approval yet, so I don't want Jeannie to write anything
I
about
took
it.
a shot, man. I got that that MSU 4-H group come and help the Cub Scouts make a bunch of fishing lures, and I wanna make sure they have that stuff all set. We're actually gonna try to make them sit together at the sucker tournament. Get them down there and bring our big flag.
Cool.
Plant in the ground, people lay,
Heck
take
yeah.
over all those.
More the merrier.
I'll be down there the day before, staking claim to the trees.
I love
Matt's
you
kids
guys'
will be in
strategy.
Cub Scouts on that morning. We didn't have a meeting. But it sounds like we're having a big one.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be busy.
Also, with preliminary discussion, the group intends to meet once a month on a regular basis and go over Tom's reports, ask the questions we might have in the meeting, and then present it at the second meeting of the month. So the goal is to meet in between the two meetings every month to avoid EDA. Going forward.
So this will be the first month you try it out?
Yes, in February, which sounds like it's going to be loaded with a bunch of other pass the buck stuff. But I understand how it has to get there, so there'll be a big list. There's going to be pizza, cookies. Oh, I forgot to bring my container. That it? Yeah, that's it.
No public safety committee meeting, DDA.
I was unable to attend because I was soaking up sun.
Actually, I believe they did not have quorum.
No, they did not.
No. Their agenda came out that was much the same.
Yeah, usually it. Chamber dinner, I have the date here, I think I got some.
Saturday.
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 This week.
Okay, yeah, there you
It's
go.
a Saturday, man.
That is when the meeting, or the dinner is, I encourage everybody to go. It's a good
Yes.
time.
Well, one of our employees was accepted for Employee of the Year.
Oh,
So-
well, shh, don't tell Ginny that.
Root Note will be dueling out a award.
Nice.
Well, a speech, I guess. Chamber's giving the award.
Planning?
No meeting, and I have not saw an agenda for next week yet. But I do believe we are supposed to have one next week.
Okay.
So tentatively.
Airport is still closed.
Yeah.
Fire board?
Oh, jeez. Oh, wait. Did anybody notice?
Airport.
Airport? Sorry. We didn't have a meeting, but I saw they're having, it's in April. Is it in April? Look at Sean.
I didn't, we got the
They're
Christmas,
doing a gun and knife swap show, something at the airport.
Outside?
where did you find that?
It was posted.
Maybe in one of the hangars.
Yes, probably in one of the hangars.
I'm gonna need more information on that.
Yes, I'll find it. I just happened to see it. I recognized it. We're not having a meeting till March, so
Yeah, cause they got the Christmas party in 2 weeks,
Christmas party's in 2 weeks that I'm not attending.
or next week.
The 28th, yes.
6th.
If you're going, find out what exactly it is in April.
Yeah,
So,
IRSVP.
They just posted it a week ago that they're gonna have this. We don't have a meeting till March, so it's
Because
just whatever.
well, it's just funny. The airport's always said that that wasn't something, the liability wise, they were.
Well, it appears they figured it out. Because they posted it, they're doing it. We'll see. Firebird.
We had 7 runs, and it brings a total of 9 runs already this year. Like Sean said, we had 3 of them that day. 2 of them with structures. And then, that last one was that night, and it started at 1:30 in the morning, and I didn't get home till 4:30, but a lot of them didn't get home till 6 o'clock in the morning that day. Saturday, we had 2 of them that was back to back within 2 minutes. One was the main one in Oakley, another one was around on Ridge Road, which was a minor one. Brandon took care of that for us, and then came back to the fire in Oakley. We had Marion Springs and Tri-Township help us on that one. Christmas party went good Saturday. We gave Kevin Carlson a 35-year plaque for being on the fire department. Nick Scott's son got a 5-year award. There's no one that's had 5 years. I can't remember what it was. But each one of the firemen that made 100% training got a gift certificate for the chamber. If anybody wants, I got a breakdown of here, all the fire calls and everything else, I'll pass it around, you wanna look at it. We had our board meeting last Wednesday for 2022, we had 193 calls. The insurance company on the roof got a third party involved now, it's called Icon Registry, wherever it is anyways, for the roof, and give them an estimate, but right now it's over $320,000 for that roof. And they think it's gonna be a little bit more when they get done.
Could've just built a whole new fire barn.
Yeah. MDHAS is, Midland, the semiconductor up there is in with this, with the state on PFAS. We have already got guys signed up for it. They will start getting their blood drawn this month. They will be coming down testing the water at the station. We gotta do this twice during the year time. And then they will compare it to the other stations from the other fire departments and let us know what's going on and let the people individually know they got anything going on. Because actually, there's only been a couple of them with the PFAS before that we had. So, we received a matching grant, 50/50 grant from DNR for a portable tank to be replaced. They gave us a maximum of $4,000, but it's gonna cost us $3,500 for it. Anderson Fire that we went to, the first 23 hours, the total was 26 hours up there. Our tenders alone, 360,000 gallons of water. The pumper to the ladder truck pumped in 980,000 gallons of water, and we put 980 miles on the trucks. Thomas Township Merrill alone gave the water system of 7.5 million gallons of water. There's 80 fire departments from Traverse City to Detroit coming to this. Saginaw County Road Commission and CJ Bark supplied the fuel for them. Nick and Scott attended a training session up at Thomas Township on MIOSHA, which is Part 74 standards for regarding fire departments, and we got a few policies that we gotta change on that. Everybody starting this new quarter is gonna be getting a 23-cent raise because of the, what do you call it? Minimum wage hike, thank you. The Christmas storm, Jason Hedrick and Gabe kept the driveway open for us. Hedrick ended up bringing his payloader in and spent 14 hours trying to open up on that snowstorm we had. And Scott told him to give us the bill, and we haven't got the bill yet. And we're supposed to have a meeting next week, but we're gonna have one after Aaron gets back on the golf outing. That is planned for May 13th. And we're talking about either putting money towards a new electric sign out there or some more training stuff for the fire department. And then Steve Keenitz from Brady Township gave us a arm for a light pole. So we're gonna put it at the end of the driveway so you guys can see the driveway at night.
It's dark trying to find
Yes.
it at night.
And that's about it.
I think so.
Oh, the next board meeting's February 8th at 6 o'clock.
Task force, January 24th. Do we have anybody signed up over there? All right, public statement, any topic, limited to 3 minutes. Terry Frankouplis? Okay, Mike Navarre? Yes, word? All right, quick one. Any council member wishing to make a statement?
Yeah, Rod sent me a text. I'd like to have a moment of silence for Benny Sims
Yes.
for serving like 23 years on the police department.
Let's do that.
who was ever pulled over by a perjury by your first name? Keith, don't you? I'm stupid. Got it.
Anybody else have a statement they'd like to make?
I've been traveling, just getting back. I wanted to ask about the cleanup that we were asking DPW about on the corner, but that came up earlier. Is the sidewalk still blocked outside of Pinto?
No, that's taken care of.
Okay, just a couple of things I wanted to follow up on, and then, I know I was gone, but just thank you for putting public comment back on at the beginning of the agenda.
When's Burger King supposed to go?
They got the pumps in, they're still working on,
They were working on
signage up there.
They were working on their open sign on the door tonight
Yes.
when I went to Cub Scouts. They had it
Supposedly
flashed.
sometime
I
next
was stirring to see if there's chicken.
they gotta get the state, license and all that for the food and everything, so.
And I would assume the fire department's probably gonna sign off on it.
Yep, we already did.
Oh, you did that already?
Right. So we're gonna
Because they gotta do that, give the plans to them so we can approve it and everything, so.
Right. I did visit Highlight.
I heard. I forgot all about it.
And the detection system will tell the difference, whether it's pot or something else.
Oh, they can?
Yes.
Interesting. That's excellent.
The other cool stuff, I don't think we, as a council, should use it, but, well, as individual members, but, once it's working, there's gonna be an app that someone, I'm with Tommy, will see it, he can see the hotspots right on the app. So, if there's some place that's blowing in the wind, it's gonna be determined by the wind. Blowing in the wind, it's coming across strong, a particular house that I really can't tolerate driving by. They'll know it's coming from there. It's
Really?
gonna show up like red, it's gonna look like, just like smoke.
Okay, so it'll be able to detect that.
Is there a mapping system on it, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
They use 3 or more sensors. They're, olfactory sensors, like basically electric noses, and then they coordinate, take in the data from weather data.
Can we go down and check, can we go down and check them out, or?
Yeah, once
They have them hooked up right now around where they want them, but their current issue was their Wi-Fi's not staying steady enough
Sure.
to keep it running.
Oh, they're probably gonna have to push that out.
They're trying to adjust something on that, but once they got that fixed, it should be up and running, according to what they told me.
Is
So,
that data on the app stored somewhere then? So if it's in the same area repeatedly, we'll have historical data on that, or?
they can print it out, so my suggestion going forward, since we're piling on to finance and administration, when they have that running, I think that, Tom should be able to you can get a monthly report from them.
Oh, cool.
So, get a monthly report to go with his monthly report, so we can see where they detected stuff coming from and going to, as well as whatever Tommy writes up. And that can be presented as well with the following meeting.
Maybe that printout or a screenshot if somebody calls into the office with a complaint or a concern, so we have that data that could be attached to
They
every.
automatically can do it.
But that needs to be part of the process of when somebody answers the phone.
Oh, I
We
see.
have to request that to be
Pulled out.
at live time or same time, so that.
Well, even if somebody calls, makes a complaint, if Tommy pulls up the app, we can find it. It'll be instantaneous there as well as on their computers.
How far, you know how far it reaches out?
That, I don't know. I haven't read all the specs they gave me. So it's all gonna be determined, just like we wondered, humidity, temperature, wind, all that plays a part in picking out where it's coming from. Because when you read it, they use these and let's pick the worst place in the world to drive, LA. Figuring out the smog and the pollution and all that crap in the air. It shows all the hot spots where it's the worst. So this is what these systems are used for, figuring out where basically air pollution but they can be tweaked to determine specific things.
I
So
saw the
these-
demo they had for a waste treatment facility in Canada somewhere, and showed where their odor was going.
It was neat, and then, not to tweak some of the people, solar power. I think that's what was on the ones I looked at.
Solar.
That's has the little solar panel down.
I mean, it makes sense, because otherwise you have to stretch conduit all the way around. That's cost prohibitive.
So, yeah, they currently have 3 or 4 up fence line. So they only have so much fence around their property, that's where they put it.
Right.
Did you also go to Niles?
We went to Niles. A couple of us that went to Niles found out it was a big city, not a small city. One of us already knew that. They have a better building than we do. It's 3 floors. Look at them, they're both looking at me to talk about the trip. Man, just killing me. Anyhow, we went and visited. They have a large industrial park. It's just one building. I wouldn't call it an industrial park, but there are 4 or 5 grows going on in the same buildings.
All indoor.
All indoor. Niles allows everything but outdoor growing. So, smoking bars, micro businesses, weekend parties. I wanted to ask him that, I forgot. 'Cause
Churches.
Churches, that was
wild.
so they live close to the Indiana border. Indiana doesn't allow it, and they flat out told us that a lot of the businesses coming up to buy gummies, blah, 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 whatever. All you see is Indiana plates in these parking lots. But someone got the bright idea to have a black market business, and they used the church. So they were growing, selling everything inside this church.
Consuming. It's
Consuming.
more of like a consumption thing.
They were doing everything inside a church that they had got their hands on.
I don't remember us saying growing.
The neat thing was the city of Niles has their own electric company, so they can track where power is being used, find the hot spots, just as well as using water, like we would have to figure out who's using a lot of water. They can track the electric to see who's burning electricity. And they use where we have an ordinance officer, they use the police force. So twice a year they go in and inspect everybody. They're using the police force to bust that church. So. But the black market thing was bad. He said it's still a problem, they just found that church. So, and it's being close to the border, so it will be like, and here in the state of Michigan, they have problems in Indiana, it'd be the same problem in the UP, because Minnesota, Wisconsin don't allow, so the UP would have problems coming across the border and doing it.
UP's been doing it for forever.
But the really cool thing I saw when we went to the building is, the business we visited was a building within the building. They built a building inside the building. So, my opinion that helps cut down odor really easily. As far as odor on the outside, you didn't really smell it, but we know open the door, just like anyone, you smell it when you walk in the door. It's not overpowering, but you smell it, depending on what room you go to. The business we visited also was cleaning, because they had a problem, so they had nothing growing when we were there. So we couldn't tell if they had problems with big odor slipping out when somebody opens the door, go in and out, because they were cleaning their building. But how far away is the school, Rod?
They said 2 blocks. It's a lot
2
farther
very
than that.
large blocks. Definitely not trusting blocks.
No, these are large city blocks, but when you're on the property, which you're at part of the property,
You can
go
see the
right down the
school.
street and see the school.
Yeah, and oddly enough, they have no complaints that come from their public.
No, they have, yes.
They
Very,
have none. The only
very few.
he said the only complaints that they get are from the staff members that will drive by and smell it, but they don't have any public complaints that come in.
They're one of their newer buildings as well. It's a building that was built from the ground up.
That Simplicity building?
I don't know if it's Simplicity, I think it's a different one, we didn't go into it.
Okay, gotcha.
But that's the one that he said they were constantly on them.
Oh,
to
yeah,
swap
yes,
their
yes,
charcoal
yes.
filters.
Oh, so the newer building was.
The newer
worse than
building
the
was worse than the older building.
Yeah, then the Simplicity.
Because, like I said, I've been there before picking up GM parts, and they have multiple of these things to choose from. So
So as a community, they have no complaint?
As a community, they
as
have
a
no
community, they
complaints.
have very few complaints.
But we put together a few things, and Rod and I think we both agree on the fact that probably the greenhouses, maybe, because they just, I mean, that's the only thing that they have different there, is they don't have any greenhouses that they grow in there. But yeah, they have no community-driven
Do they
complaints.
have a similar number of establishments?
I believe they do.
They have the same.
I don't
They
know.
cannot have the same, but they grow more.
They have no open grow,
No.
outdoor grow.
They have no outdoor
That's the
grow.
only thing they
It's
don't
all
have.
indoor.
Mhm.
And their filtration systems down there, I mean, they look like they were pretty, I asked the administrator, I mean, do you know what they install in here? They don't care what they install. Their attitude is, if we smell it, you fix it. You fix it.
So, because the state has the rules, there's no one company everybody has to use as the filtration system. So, everybody, and the girl we talked to said, you know, everybody has a different one. So, as long as it's working for you and your company, everybody's good with it.
Are they using any of the odor sensors, like what Highlight just put up?
No.
Nope.
So just if someone smells it,
He said they have no
No public complaints.
public
Yeah, they
complaints.
hear-
The only thing that they said they complained was maybe the staff comes in once in a while and says they can smell it. That's the only complaints they have. No complaints.
I feel like they're not dropped in the center of a residential area either.
It's the old, what it is I don't know if anybody knows what it is. The old Simplicity used to.
Right. The entire building was the old Simplicity. Was it sewing
Sewing
They
patterns?
made sewing patterns.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it was the entire building was that. But that entire building is now, this section is this grow, this section is this grow, this section is this grow.
Are they fully isolated from each other then?
Yes,
Okay. Cause it's
They all operate
separate business
independently.
entities
right.
Yes.
under one,
But they're under one giant building,
okay.
and if we need any power sources, we know where to go. They have a bunch of generators laying on the
Oh
floor.
my gosh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I don't think we could have counted them quick enough.
The diesel backups.
Yeah, big ones.
There's a bunch of them,
At least, what, 40?
man. Oh, wow.
Maybe more?
Could have been more than that.
I
There was a
know, so
lot of
bad.
them, man.
So they have their own power well, plus they have their own power generation in the city.
Yep.
Wow.
is their building design similar with the light that comes? Like similar to Highlight where we've talked about.
It's
the
enclosed,
light
they don't
pollution.
have greenhouses.
So they
They don't have any greenhouses.
Everything is,
Then we visited a micro business, which was unique. The guy that talks and is one of the owners, he is a talker.
I know a
but
guy
he's
like that.
Very, we're not talking about your husband. It's kind of rude, you can't even do something. But that building and what they're doing there was, impressive to say the least. Entirely organic. I like the fact that they filmed the birth of a praying mantis, using that to get at other critters. But, you know, they're growing 150 plants in the building, they process it, they sell it all in one building. It really wasn't as big as I thought it might have been. But I didn't really smell anything on the outside. When you walk inside, that's a different story. So, but yeah, he was very enthusiastic about what they're doing there, as far as being organic.
Instead of a microbrewery, they're trying to kind of like create a cannabis version of a microbrewery.
Yeah.
I mean, they put a lot of work into this. It was pretty substantial. Their water treatment center, they have their little water treatment center in there.
Yeah, that was,
Top of the line ventilation. It was really neat. They put a lot of their heart and soul into it. They're definitely passionate about what they were doing. So 150 plants was their max. They can process their. I don't think they were consuming there, were they?
you can't.
No.
The rules are grow, process, sell. That's the end for micro business. But like he was saying, the rules are changing in 2023. They're thinking about upping what their class license can grow. So the class A is going to be able to grow 300, but they can't process. They can sell. But they, like you said, they don't want to get into that because you can't control the processing part. So there's some quality. Yeah.
It was nice to see how well done it can be done on a small scale when someone is passionate about what they're doing, not just in it for money. Type
So is
thing.
that their market differentiator, is the organic, higher quality
Yes,
versus?
Yes.
100%. More of, it gets a niche market versus large.
Right.
They used living soil, so they didn't use any pesticides, nothing.
Yep.
Everything was ran by, the living soil, which gives the nutrients in the plant, because they keep the microorganisms in there, and they do what they needed to do. They used only predatory mites or other pests versus anything to kill any of the powdery mildew or any of the bugs that they have. I don't know. It was something unique to see that you just don't see here.
And Niles has 4 licenses available for micro businesses. They just went online in October, and there's a second one working to get started. Not them, a different.
Okay.
They're only, of the 4 licenses available, 1 is using one, and 1 is getting ready to start.
So what would you say is the takeaway, or what's applicable from there to here?
Good question.
I think everything organic.
Yeah.
Because after, the biggest thing that I wanted to go down there for was to see how they prevent the odor, but they have no open grow, which I wish they would have. But I mean, we're still back to square one. I mean.
Yeah, because the only other open grow I know of, which is huge, nobody lives around it. So you can't really use that.
My biggest thing was filtrations on the building. We put it on filtration on the buildings out here on the open roads. You still got the smell because it's the open road. And I don't know what really, I don't know. I guess really, I don't know what we do. How do you prevent it? Just to be honest with you, I says, what was one of the things that, how did I word that again? I can't remember how it.
Do you have any
I think
regrets?
you asked,
Take
if you could go back and do it again, what would you change? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, and then or what's the biggest? He said he's glad that no open grow was brought to that town. But I didn't get that ain't helping it. It's here, so, what we got out of it, I don't know.
Maybe some validation that we're not the only town having issues. We have a few things that are different here that they don't have there.
Yeah.
I didn't hear what you said, Mike.
Sounded like they weren't having issues though.
Well, they do have some odor issue. And they have the other issue of the people coming from across state lines and creating a black market that we do not have here.
Yeah, but the biggest problem around here has been odor, right? Like,
Sure.
that's the biggest public complaint and all, and they don't have that complaint.
Nope, they sure don't.
That's like kind of what everybody's been upset about was the.
I agree. They have other issues that we don't have. I don't necessarily think that going anywhere in the state we'll be able to mirror our issues that other communities have and vice versa. I wish that we could have brought more home. I wish that we maybe could have solved something. Their ventilation and the filtration systems, I think, are comparable to what I saw in Highlight.
I still think it should be a good valid point that these buildings still need filtration to fathom. I mean, it doesn't hurt. I mean, you may be cutting down some smell, but it's an open grow. You're not gonna eliminate the smell.
Well, to your point, I mean, the biggest cause of the odor is when they dry and process it. So we absolutely should require any building that's performed drying and processing in needs to have a filtration system. And we don't have that codified right now.
Yes.
And we should.
Yes. Like I said, I want this, I want like everybody, eliminate the smell, but it's open grow. Until there's no open grow, you're not gonna have a smell, I wish it'd go away, but it is what it is. Like I said, that's the main reason why I went down there, is to look at the filtrations and just see what we can do with, bring it to here. And that's what I'm hoping for. But like I said, I didn't know they didn't have open grow down there. And, or open grow, outdoor grow, I'm sorry.
That's a country where you should have on theirs too. Because Kim and I was ready at Highlight when he put those ionized misters on those greenhouses, and night and day difference.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Well,
Is there?
how about when the licenses come up, growth and grow, you just don't refill them? That would eliminate a lot of it.
Except for the lawsuits we end up getting.
Oh, okay.
Well, are you keeping track of violations? Those fences haven't been repaired in over a month now. And now you've got country boy farms with a fence down that people could just actually step in and walk right over.
To the fence point, they know they're broke and they are working on getting them fixed. That was the last report I got, and I will check with Tom again to see where that's at.
If nothing else, it's nice.
There were a bunch of generators in the parking lot.
Yeah. Wait, were they new?
They were all brand new, just sitting in the parking lot.
Kind of want to bring one back.
Somebody's gonna.
I don't think we were gonna tow it with the Malaville.
But for now the greenhouses, filtrations on them. Is it something that? How do we know if it's up to? If they're up to standards. Is it something cheap they just put in there, or just? I don't know. I'm not an HVAC system.
I think that there was wording in one of the ordinances that was the cubic feet per minute. Essentially, you needed to cycle the air in the entire building in X amount of hours or whatever it was. I think that's the only way you can word it.
Okay.
So whatever you're using a tree that has to push, so many cubic feet per minute to cycle the air in that building within whatever time frame it doesn't take.
Now, say if you're smelling it, does our ordinance officer go check to see if the filters have been changed, or?
No, we don't have any. We don't have anything like that.
You don't.
So they do. They did drop in. They would drop in twice a year. One that was planned.
Do they tag things when they were in there?
Yep, they will. They'll check their logbooks, but they have to keep up to date their logbooks to make sure that they were changing out filtration system filters when they were supposed to be checking or changing them out. I can't remember I think it was every 6 months.
Yep.
So they would drop in and they would check on things just to make sure that everything was up to date and, they were following by the rules, nothing wonky appeared to be going on. They seem to have quite a great, a good relationship with the administrator up there. Just observing the communication that he had with some of the people. He was a retired police officer.
Well, my impression was, you know it smells, you fix it, or you don't get a license. That's the way they,
I must have missed that, I don't remember him saying that.
Well, that's more or less what they're saying is, they don't have nothing they don't like their HVAC systems, they don't have nothing documented, what, each marijuana facility is using. They say they got a complaint, you have to fix it. Or you're in violation, or maybe that's why not maybe take your license away, but you're in violation, you need to fix it.
Yeah, he said they've never taken their license away.
My wrong words.
I won't fines, but he said they've
I don't
never.
think they even said they even fined it.
Yeah, I don't think they've fined anything either. They've never taken
But
their license.
they work together, they do work together, and they seem to get it done.
Yep.
So,
That's a nice relationship.
yeah.
Anybody else have anything under the marijuana?
Well, that was still, were we into?
That was Councilmember
That was
State.
Councilmember State.
Yeah, we kind of slipped right into the marijuana.
Yeah.
More.
It's just,
No, I'm pretty sure that was Councilmember State.
Technically, yes.
Okay.
Okay, well, enter the marijuana work session now.
With the discussion that we had on the way back, I had brought up maybe possibly the best way to maybe navigate the odor within the facilities that we have is I think that it would be great if the buildings would work with us to explain to us in layman's terms what type of filtration systems they have so that we at least know who has what. I know there's been some conversation about some facilities may not even have filtration systems on their buildings. So it'd be nice if we could figure out what they have.
That would be nice. Then we can compare and contrast.
Right. Find out how free, I know that they have to change their filters every 6 months. I believe that was a state law. But maybe finding out if it's a possibility of making sure that filters are being changed out when they should. I'm not opposed as to maybe changing filters out more frequently. I know that I'm not footing the bill on that ticket, but I don't know if it would even help.
Process, how much there is.
Sure, or how much the turnover is for product in the building or in the room that they're using the filtration. I don't know if the amount of plants in one specific room and if maybe the ventilation that they have in that room, I'm sure fits the size room that they have, but, there's more plants in a room. Some plants grow bigger, some plants grow smaller, so if you're growing a plant that grows smaller, you could technically fit more plants into that room. If there's enough room on that license to say hold 300 plants versus 150, I don't know if any of that would make a difference when it comes to filtration in these rooms. These are just thoughts that I've had. Nothing that I have with any information that I could back up.
Well, I think we have an easy win by requiring any building where growing, drying, or processing takes place to require that filtration.
Sure.
I think that's a pretty easy win we can get started on.
Yep.
But the bulk of our problem is from the outdoor growth, right? Which is the odor problem, correct?
I don't know.
I don't agree with that statement. I feel like the biggest complaint still comes from the highway? I mean, do we still have complaints coming in right now?
I gotta check.
Because we have no outdoor grow, we haven't since October. And if there's still been complaints coming in from October until now, they must be coming from somewhere because outdoor grow has been done.
Well, I know there are a couple of houses that smell pretty dank around town, like very dank.
There's the recreation growers have just as much
Sure.
play and smell as well. That's what sometimes makes it hard to differentiate.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, sometimes you know. Like,
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, every house in the village is allowed 12 plants.
Right.
State law gives everybody 12 plants per household.
And some people don't follow the law, like the guy just outside of town who pulled a gun on the contractor for revoking his roof, so.
And there's some that just simply say, I want 15. But everyone's allowed to grow their own, and so therefore that's going to play a part in it as well.
But we can still get
Oh,
those.
yeah, we can, we can control, well,
Control
businesses.
we can, and then, but if we can get that data and it ends up working out, then we'll know, like, hey, this smell's coming from here. And if it's awfully strong, maybe we can work with, the Bay Area Act Task Force on getting rid of some of these black market grows.
I thought they were supposed to have a portable unit too when they got that all set up.
If it works out, yeah. You still gotta set it up and leave it and let it gather data for so long to get the triangulation. Yeah.
But when you have a odor coming off a house, or a tremendous odor like that, ordinance,
There's nothing we can do about it.
nothing,
I mean, if you can prove that they're growing more plants than they're supposed to, then that's a criminal issue, and we can go after that, but it's just the smell
or,
alone.
We can't,
Because
state law governs them, not us.
Right. And it'd be, if I was, let's say I was making short ribs all day and stunk up the entire neighborhood, and somebody was a vegan and they didn't like it, it's the same principle. I can't
Niles
do anything about it.
administrator was sharing similar issues, which is why they don't have, really an ordinance for odor. Because they have several restaurants that would would turn on the odor.
Trigger
Yeah.
their systems.
Based on some of them, which is why they don't have an ordinance against it either.
Right. I mean, I can think of a couple in town where
Yep.
they smell delicious, but some people may not agree.
Yeah, he said the same.
I mean, I've got a neighbor, I can tell you exactly when he starts harvesting. I mean, and then there was one next to the bus garage. They built a greenhouse in the backyard. I can tell you when they were harvesting.
They should have put the money into replacing those windows.
But unfortunately, we don't govern those private grows.
Right. Unless they go.
Well, oh yeah, no, yeah.
just government, I mean, I'm not pointing out the grow, I'm just saying something like an obnoxious smell, you know.
Well, we do have that. That is under our blight. I think that's part of our blight.
Yeah.
We have an
it's
obnoxious.
Pretty hard.
But again, and don't get me wrong, I'm not naive. Our businesses do have odor issues. I mean, I'm not going to be
Somebody
naive.
likes to smell mushrooms, so,
Yep.
you know.
But
If it
that's
smells like a rotting body, then you have a problem.
yeah. But that's the trade-off. If your neighbor's growing 15 plants, then yes, technically they're 3 plants over. But you have to figure out legally how to.
Yeah, prove it.
No, I do.
Natural gas smell.
On what?
When the farmers putting radishes in the fields and that, we have, I know Tri had 4 last year, I think we had like 3 from the natural gas smell. They said that there was in that area.
Sulfur.
It's because of the radishes rotten in the fields and that.
Weisenberg's will plant them right there in that field between Big Rock and Volkmer Road. On occasion, it's a tough gig, man.
Yeah.
Put the nitrogen back in the soil.
Yeah.
Most likely.
But it does. It absolutely smells like gas.
Yeah. Which actually natural gas is odor free. They add
It
that
is.
smell.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything? I think maybe for next, finance and admin, we'll add some more stuff on for you guys.
Why not, man? Let's go full board. I'm bringing pizza, 'cause I'm pretty sure we're gonna be sitting here for a
Well,
while.
I do have one comment. It was made at the board meeting, that Chesaning people gives more blood in this area than anybody else.
Really?
Yes.
Nice.
Good to know.
They're setting up some blood drives at the fire department again for this year, so.
support.
Favor support. We already slipped the motion to adjourn, but Bill doesn't wanna listen.
Motion's been made and supported to adjourn. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Yeah, hey, Bill, do you want this back?
Yeah,
Okay.
everybody looked
I
at
mean,
it,
I don't want it, but
yeah.